TBS News, I'm Rosine Park. South Korea has reported 1,961 additional cases of COVID-19 and 11 more virus-related fatalities. The Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency said all but 34 of the latest confirmed infections were locally transmitted. Since the start of the pandemic, the country has recorded a total of 255,401 cases and 2,303 deaths. Active cases in the country remain above 26,000, while the number of coronavirus patients with serious symptoms stood at 371. Health authorities are continuing to push vaccinations and current social distancing rules, including a ban on gatherings of more than 2 people after 6 p.m. in the greater Seoul area and other major cities as the main lines of defense against the fourth wave of the pandemic. But they are also bracing for another potential surge in infections fueled by more contagious variants of the coronavirus, which could spread during the upcoming Chuseok holiday. The government says it will announce on Friday special social distancing guidelines that will take effect Monday through Chuseok. Unionized health and medical workers called off a planned strike for today hours before it was scheduled to get underway. The Korean Health and Medical Workers Union said in talks held late last night it reached an agreement with the government to secure better working conditions for healthcare workers. The two sides agreed on the need to avoid any negative impact on medical services amid the COVID pandemic. Under the deal, the government will come up with detailed measures by October on how to better schedule working hours for nurses based on the severity of patients. And from January, overtime benefits will be given to frontline nurses and healthcare workers. Prime Minister Kim Boo-kyum welcomed the agreement and thanked workers for canceling their planned action. He said in a Facebook post that a budget will be secured and systems improved to meet the needs of health workers. The Seoul Central District Court has ordered the Japanese government to disclose its assets in South Korea by next March to pay compensation to Korean victims of Japan's wartime sexual slavery. Judicial sources said the submission of a full asset list is a procedure to confirm seizable properties ahead of the forcible execution of a court ruling. A group of 12 so-called comfort women who were forced into sexual slavery for Japanese troops during World War II filed a request for a list of Tokyo's assets in April, after the Japanese government refused to comply with a January court ruling that ordered it to pay 100 million won in reparations to each of the plaintiffs. Watchers say the likelihood of Tokyo complying with the latest court order by the deadline is very low, considering the neighboring countries' positions on the issue. The head of the U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff says it's possible Washington will have to coordinate with the Taliban on any future counterterrorism strikes in Afghanistan against Islamic State militants. In a press conference at the Pentagon, Army General Mark Milley called the Taliban a ruthless group. He said whether or not they change remains to be seen. Milley's comments come 2 days after the last U.S. troops left Afghanistan, ending their nearly 20-year presence in the country. Speaking on the matter, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said he'll make no predictions now on how the U.S. relationship with the Taliban will look like in the future. That's all for now. You're listening to TBS eFM.